Okay, everyone, wrapping up today's Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. With two of the three podium finishers, Kyle Kirkwood and Ron Rzuski, will be joining us here in just a bit once they wrap up the celebration in Victory Lane. But Christian Lundgaard, you started ninth, came home second, and the number 7, Arrow McLaren Chevrolet, best finish of the season since the second at Mid-Ohio. It's his 6th podium of the season, 15th of his career, and moves up to 3rd in the 2026 NTT IndyCar Series Championship points chase. And Will Power, who started 12th, comes home 3rd. He led 4 laps today in the 26 TWG AI Honda for Andretti Global. 3rd straight podium of the season, 5th podium of 2026, 113th of his career, had a race high 13 on-track passes as well. Congratulations on the podium. Christian, we'll start with you. What was it like trying to reel in Kyle a little bit, and obviously had a great finish as well?
Yeah, I feel like I had just a couple of laps where I was faster than him, and then another 12 laps where he was faster than me. So, yeah, just what an experience all weekend. The best background I've ever had on a racetrack, obviously, but just being a part of it, seeing where the series is going, and being a part of it. Obviously, the race was long. I think we got a better result than we expected. But we got 3 more races to go, and I think I'm just happy to see Alex not win for once. I hear you all laughing, so you agree with me, which is great.
I think you just won the room with that.
Yeah,
anyway.
no. I mean, obviously, Kyle and I were 2nd and 4th in the championship going into this weekend, and Alex and David had some unfortunate luck out there. But those are the days that we need to not have, for the rest of the season. I'm definitely pushing for that 2nd. Kyle made that a little tougher for me today.
Well, congratulations. As mentioned, 3rd straight podium of the season, another sign that Andretti Global, I think as a whole, is really coming together at the right time for you guys. Congratulations. Your thoughts on the day?
Yeah, it was, is that working? Yeah, hit that button. That one? There we go. Yeah. That first yellow kind of hurt us, but man, even at that point, you have so many laps to go. At that point, it's still over 100 laps to go. So I was like, well, we can certainly make a lot work from here. Because I saved a lot of fuel. I would have gone probably 3 laps longer than the guys around me. And yeah, a lot of on-track passes, to be honest, to move up to there. And good strategy, good stops. It's just becoming normal for us to do this. We're starting to eliminate all the weaknesses and be strong everywhere and have a chance to win everywhere. So teams made huge progression over the season, and you can see it now. It's just all coming. It's all coming online, and I think the expectation now is every weekend is to be on the podium, challenge for a win. I think next year we'll be wanting to be
lights out,
all top 5 in the championship type stuff. Yeah.
All right, open up for questions. We got Marion with a microphone, Erica with a microphone as well. We'll start here in the front row with Zion right in front of you, Marion, right there, and then we'll work the room after that. Bruce, I see you.
Well, just to follow up on that, you guys have kind of said that the last few weeks, whether it was when Marcus won last week, you said it again today about kind of what this does for you next year. Just what do these last few races mean, going off of the street courses now to try to build momentum for next year as a team? Yeah,
it will be interesting the next 3 races for us. I feel like we should be pretty good at Milwaukee. You never know on the IndyCar. It's so competitive. If you're slightly outside the window, you can struggle. But, finishing how Ron Rzuski told me we need to finish, which is, basically second half of the year, be the points leader or be right there or be the strongest team, and that's exactly what we're doing.
And then for both of you, what were your overall thoughts on the racing product, and would you want to come back here?
Christian, you want to start?
Definitely want to come back here.
Yeah, I don't think there is any complaints.
Yeah, amazing.
You want to come back?
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing event.
I just got to do it 1 better. He's got to do it 2 better.
Amazing backdrop.
Bruce.
Even though the winner led 128 laps in this race, it looked like it was really racy throughout the rest of the field. So just, do you feel that the racing lived up to the spectacle?
It was very racy. You could pass. A lot of my positions were gained just on track passes, and so yeah, it was everything you'd want. Having an American president here watching the whole race, is still there. When I pulled up on the grid, you could see President Trump still watching, which meant that the race must have been pretty engaging, which was just really good stuff. Great for the series.
To your point, 155 on-track passes in that race today, and as mentioned, Will had the most with 13, Bruce.
And this is for both of you. At what point today did the moment or the magnitude of this spectacle hit you?
Probably when we jumped in the truck and drove around, you see the pageantry, had a very Indy 500 vibe.
I mean, it's actually funny. We were in the back of the truck and we were talking about it. I feel like this is a good contender to the Indy 500. But I think overall, this is just a testament to where the series is going. I think Milwaukee, to some extent, is going to feel a little boring next week. Just so different. Obviously, it's a different type of track. It's a different event, but nothing's like DC. But I think we did very well for our first time.
Let's go Bob and then Joey after that. Go ahead, Bob.
Will, you were part of that group that had the photo with the president. Just what is it, I guess, kind of like to do that and then have to go race right away?
That was, it's really something, you know. You see the Secret Service, you see the cars pull up. For me, being from a small town in Australia, to end up standing and talking to an American president is surreal. You know, it's something I would never have dreamed of. So, you know, it was just, incredible to stand there, talk to the president and the first lady, then jump in a race car and race in Washington, D.C. So, it's not, maybe it'll get in the Toowoomba Chronicle. They might put it in. Picture of me shaking President Trump's hand. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
And a lot was made about the length of the race, heat, the strength it'll take. Did it feel as long as it made it out?
Great. I loved it, man. I just love endurance stuff. Just kept hammering all the way to the end, so it wasn't a problem for me.
Well, your cars are good too.
You're
right?
wheeling it.
First, third, and fourth. I feel like your guys' cars are pretty good.
Yeah, we were just cruising, man.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Just fingertip driving.
Joey, go ahead.
For Will, just kind of thinking about the fact that I think within 91 points of Polo now, what collectively can y'all do to try to gain on him, to help Kyle gain on him?
Hang on, how many points?
Like one, I think.
Kyle trails by 91 now.
Oh, 91. Damn, I was hoping it was going to be less than that.
I mean, you can help him out, can you not?
Yeah, that's a tough gig right there, man. I don't know.
He didn't get it.
Yeah. I didn't get it. What do you mean help him out? Of course.
You can help Kyle out.
Yes. I don't get what you mean.
You guys get it, right? There you go. Okay.
What's that? Oh, I wasn't putting my mind in that place. I've been around too long. That stuff definitely comes back to bite you.
Oh, no, I know.
That's pretty tough. 3 races ago, 90 points with a guy that's very consistent. Obviously, the team will keep digging, and we'll do everything we can to close that gap and make it possible going to the last race. But I think after the first race in Milwaukee, we'll know pretty much where we stand.
And then I guess just to follow up with that, it's just you've been in several championship battles. This is really Kyle's first that he's been in this conversation. I mean, what kind of advice or what kind of mentorship do you give him in a situation like this?
Well, at where he stands, he has nothing to lose but go for absolute wins. So taking risk on strategy and maybe some risk on track. But it's 90 points is a pretty big chunk to try to get back to. Yeah.
Good time for 1 or 2 more. Go ahead, sir.
Hi. Question for you both. An American driver took the top step today, but you two international drivers filled out the rest of the podium. What do you think that says about the American dream aspect of IndyCar, that drivers from Denmark and Australia can come here and race on equal footing right in the nation's capital?
Yeah, I've said it forever. I mean, it's such a great series from that perspective. You've got so many different nationalities in there. It's a very friendly paddock. But you've also got, I don't know, what have we got, 8 American drivers? We've also got a third of the field is American. And that's, when I joined the series 20 years ago, that was, one of the things that they were trying really hard to do is get some really top-level American drivers. And that's exactly what we have now. So it is probably the most rewarding, enjoyable series to race in, I would say, because anyone can win, and the racing is tremendous. And I would say that the tracks, the disciplines you've got to have on all these different tracks. I think IndyCar is in the best shape it's ever been in since I've been in the series, and that's 21 years. It's just progressively gone up, but more recently it's taken a big step. So really proud to be a part of it.
14 different nations, by the way, represented in the field, the full-time field in 2026. Let's go, Lucille, and then Sahil after that. We'll wrap it up. Go ahead.
Hi. Congratulations to both of you on the podium today. We talked about how bumpy the track was before we started racing. So today, was the track better? I mean, it didn't seem like we had too many yellows because of the bumps.
I mean, it's still as bumpy.
Okay.
Still as bumpy.
The tough bumps are where, like, turn 4, you've got the lock-in. It just rips out of your hand.
There's a big bump in turn 4, but I feel like most of the bumps are really either when you're going straight or in the brake zones.
Yeah.
It's not really so much in the apex, except turn 4, which is probably also the slowest corner on the track.
It's where power steering would be so nice, huh?
Yeah, I don't want that.
In the middle of it. No?
No.
I don't really care either way, actually.
Okay, thanks.
Gotta muscle it.
Yeah, I like to muscle it. I do enjoy that, yeah.
Sahil, last question. Go ahead.
Thank you. Congratulations to you both on the podium. I was going to ask about the bumps as well. Did you ever feel yourselves lifting off to protect your car after what we saw in the practice and qualifying sessions? And then what did you make of the turn 6, 7, that left-right, left-hander when you were looking at the Capitol? What was it like seeing that view from your helmet?
You definitely didn't see the Capitol.
My bad.
Pretty focused on the walls. Like, that was a really, like, thread-the-needle corner complex. And if you got it wrong, which I assume Malukas got the wall right, like, hit the inside and bounced. Like, man, it's like, you're like...
small mistake, big consequence.
Small mistake, massive consequence. Yeah, that was... it's probably the hardest section of the whole track. Because it wasn't really grippy either, was it? It was really on top of the road, so you're sliding a lot.
Guys, congratulations. Heck of a show. And for those who follow us week in and week out, we'll see you in a couple days at the Milwaukee Mile. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. All right, Kyle Kirkwood is on his way. He'll join us here shortly, as will Ron Mazuski, the team principal from Andretti Global. So those two will be here any moment.
calor. Mucho sol. Hello.
Wouldn't listen to the fact that 46 said something.
No, I did. I was like thinking throughout the race. I didn't remember what I really said, but I did like have this like nagging feeling in the back of my head of like somebody said he was going to win this race. Oh my god, he was
Yeah. Enter the health freaking elbow.
no one said six. I don't even know.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Crazy. Didn't ask for power. I need that. I didn't know how hard they got for wrestling tournament. I don't know. Ask it all. Well, it's I don't know. I'll ask him. I'm getting a good man again.
I don't know if I have to work to fix it now.
It'll be great. Yeah.
Which is fine. Thank you.
I was wondering about that because I couldn't get over. I couldn't get back. I never did. I never came back. Well, no, I never came back. He was in the race.
Oh, you meant during the race?
Yes. After the race. It looked like the bridge was closed.
I didn't break during it.
Oh yeah.
I think they were.
I wish I would have.
Okay, last update was that Kyle was having his last photo taken in Victory Lane, and so he'll make his way this way after that, so maybe 10 minutes away with Kyle, so stand by. Thanks for your patience. Yeah, I can. I got you, Bob.
Hey, hey, 2-2, check. Hey, hey, 2-2, 2-2. Hey, 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 hey. Not seeing it. Oh. Hey, hey, 2-2. There's, hey, hey, 2-2, 2. Hey, 2, 2. Is that powered up? Hey, hey. 2-2. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. 2-2. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Is there a power light on this? On. Hey, let me just check back here. Check 2. Hey, hey. 2-2. Hey, hey. Still not seeing it? Still not seeing it? Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Hey. 2. Hey.
It's weird because it's.
Okay, we'll get started here very shortly. And a quick heads up that we expect to have the event chairman, Bud Dinker, up here as well, right as soon as Kyle and Ron wrap up. So that's the plan right now, unless Bud gets called away for something, but we'll have Bud up after that. So stand by for that, and congratulations. Thanks, Bud. All right, wrapping up the Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. with this, the champion of the race, Kyle Kirkwood, who led 128 of 147 laps in the 27 Sam's Club Honda for Andretti Global. His second win of the season, 7th of his career, 6 of those 7 now on street circuits, which kind of lays into the whole King of the Streets thing, right? A little bit.
Talked about that.
5th podium of the season as well, 11th of his career, and Ron Rzuski, the team principal of Andretti Global, also joins us as the team celebrates their 80th all-time win in IndyCar Series history, including a sweep of these brand new street circuits here this year with streets of Arlington, streets of Markham, Ontario, and now today the streets of Washington, D.C. Kyle, 128 laps led. How the biceps?
The biceps are actually okay. It's my hands and my left calf that is hurting. Hitting the brakes for as hard as you can for 2 hours and 40 minutes or whatever it was, and 147 laps. Every single corner you got to brake.
A heck of a workout.
Sure was. I'm going to need some rest.
Congratulations. Just your thoughts on a historic win here in D.C.
I mean, that was huge, right? I think after last weekend, my mistakes there kind of flipped a switch where I was like, I'm not going to – these mistakes feel terrible. I haven't had one of those in a very long time. And sometimes those are actually good for me because I feel like all this week I've worked harder than I ever have in preparation for this event. And I think those preparations paid off this weekend. So, it was a great feeling to rebound after last weekend, to get here, to see all the fans. 100,000 people on both days is absolutely incredible, right? Like the whole place, there's people, rows of 5 when we're going around in the pace laps, all the way around the track for 1.6 miles. Super cool to see. And to be able to win in what will be considered probably my home race, right? Being the Freedom 250 as an American is something very special, and I'll cherish this moment for a very long time.
All right, more from Kyle here in a second. Again, for you, Ron, congratulations. These street circuits, brand. I mean, you guys are on a roll right now. Just your thoughts on another victory this week. And by the way, 3 of the top 4 finishers too.
No, it's awesome. I mean, the momentum we've been carrying. I mean, Kyle, he did an awesome job today. He didn't put a wheel wrong all day, and to just echo his work ethic. I read a quote earlier that said, the ones who make it easy, put in the most work on their own and quiet, and that's exactly what he did this week. And I think as a whole, our team has really been clicking. I mean, today. Again, 1-3-4 last week. We had double podium. I think we're really starting to see, just like we said last week, the momentum. The team is really gelling. The 3 drivers working together, really pushing each other. It's something I'm used to, and it's something I'm really happy to see that we're going forward with.
Yeah, well done. Congratulations. All right, Erica's got a mic over here. We have a microphone on this side with Marion. Let's start with Jeff Gluck. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Kyle. It was obvious how much this race was meaning to you leading in the days up to it, and you were smiling every time you were talking about just competing on the streets, let alone winning here. How in those final laps were you able to push that out, emotionally, and just focus on what you need to do to finish it off?
Well, it wasn't easy. I'm not going to lie to you. There's times where it's like 100 laps in, and I'm thinking about like winning this race, right? And I have to like block it out, like try and be like refocus, reset. I just tell myself to reset. And even in the last few laps, like once it got to the last lap, I could let myself breathe a little bit, and soak it in a little bit, because we had about a 4.5 second lead and it kind of chilled out on that lap. But if last weekend's any indicator, as soon as you lose a little bit of focus, big mistakes or small mistakes are very consequential. So, I did everything in my power to not let myself drift away in any sense.
More questions, Zion?
Ron, you talked about the work Kyle put in leading up to this week. I guess if both of you guys could kind of describe what that entails when it comes to putting in that work for a brand new street race.
Ron, you want to start?
Yeah, obviously the engineers, we came here, everybody is the same for everybody. Nobody's been here. All the engineers had to sift through. There was sim sessions, there was driver in the loop sim, there was, damper work we were doing things, a ton of prep up until this from everybody, not just the people here at the track, as people at home. Everybody was pitching in. We knew it was a big race, and we treated it as such. And these inaugural events this year, we've really, I think it's really showed the strength of the team on how they all bound together and really took it on. And the drivers, again, it was really instrumental for the drivers to work together and try things and spread that information amongst each other in the sessions.
Kyle?
Want me to add to that?
Yeah.
I mean, it starts with, like you said, the engineering group. They have done a phenomenal job all this season, whether it's street courses, it's road courses, it's ovals. We've elevated the game, or our game, exponentially. And it starts with them and the hard work that they're able to put in. Us drivers, we just get in it and we drive it. We either go fast or we don't. But quite honestly, they've given us the tools every single weekend to go fast. And those efforts and that growth that we've seen everywhere else is showing exponentially on these circuits that are brand new, because we're putting in that much more effort than maybe some of the others are.
And then, Kyle, what were your thoughts on the racing product, and do you want to come back here if possible?
I mean, there's two ways to look at it, right? I'm going to be super biased in two opinions. Either, no, I never want to come back here because I'll be the only winner of this thing. Or, bias in that direction too, yes, let's come back here because I want to win it again. So, it just depends how you look at it. I mean, I think we were extremely fast. So I hope it, quite honestly, I think for our sport and IndyCar, I hope that part of the race wasn't boring with me leading a lot of it, if I'm being completely honest. But the racing product when I was around other cars was, you could actually race cars pretty well. I didn't see the broadcast. I don't know exactly what it looked like. I don't know if it was great or not throughout the midfield and the rest of the pack. But from the front, I mean, we just had a dominant car, so it probably didn't look that shiny for the lead, did it? So
there was still 155 on-track passes through the field, so there's a lot of action.
Okay, that's a lot, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and you were slicing.
That's a lot.
You were slicing through.
Yeah, I mean, I had to get through traffic, right? And typically in those situations, you get stuck behind lap traffic and you can't pass. And I passed probably 8 or 10 cars in the race, which is it's a lot for a street course.
You had 12 for the race today.
12
all told.
Okay.
Bruce?
Kyle, was there a moment today where you realized the magnitude of what this race was going to be, and when was that?
This morning when I woke up, quite honestly. You know, like there's a instinct that you have when you wake up and your heart's already racing. And I only get that feeling one other place, and that's the Indy 500. So just that sensation makes it gives its own energy, and that's what this place had. And this was a very special day. We were very prepared for it, and outside of the Indy 500, I don't think there's another race that you'd want to win.
And also, you've had dominant victories at Long Beach before, but was today probably the most dominant car you've ever had?
No, actually. If I'm being completely honest, I think some of the Long Beach wins that we had, maybe Detroit, even the years I didn't win, I thought our car was even better. Palou was extremely fast today. If they didn't have their pit lane woes, I think he would have been a force to be reckoned with. So in that sense, no, because of that. But outside of him, maybe yes.
Bob?
Yeah, for Ron, I've already asked Kyle like weeks ago about whether he could catch below, and he pretty much said he was out of range after last week. So
well, I mean, we're doing what we talked about, right? I just feel like, well, I'm just going to go out there and try and win every single race and see where it goes from there. And it's starting to pan out. I mean, I can't control what Palou does. Maybe in very small circumstances you can, but in the sense of where he finished today or where he was going to finish today. There was no controlling that because you're in the lead. So we just had a very fortunate day in the points championship.
Now, I kind of wanted to ask Ron too. What about, or how, you've been in so many of these championship fights. Just what do you tell Kyle about? Do you talk about chasing and catching below, or do you just talk about running well?
Yeah, I think if it was, if we were sitting here, 40 points out or something like that, it'd be a different conversation. But it's still 90 points out. I think to echo what Kyle said, we just have to go out there at this point and try and put numbers up on the board. And that being said, the best thing we can do is put all three of our cars in front of Palou. So that's really what we're trying to do, is not just have Kyle win races, but have Marcus and Will on the podium or in front of Palou, because that's the only way we have a chance. So if we can get all three on the podium every week, that's what we're going to try and do every week.
Let's go David and Sahil after that. Go ahead, David.
Kyle, you mentioned when you there we go. Kyle, you had mentioned when you woke up this morning, the magnitude of the event had sunk in. Has it sunk in that you've won it yet? Because this might be the only one.
I don't think so. I think it'll sink in while I'm doing media all day tomorrow, if I'm being honest. Because we're still in the middle of the championship, right? Like there's no breaks. We're going into a doubleheader next weekend, so that's going to be a lot of focus is going to go into that. But I'm sure when I get that trophy shipped to my house and I look at my phone here in a little bit and see all the text messages, it might start to sink in a little bit more.
Did you bring a suit for tomorrow? You going to make any visits to any houses that perhaps are white?
It's a phenomenal question. Looking for somebody from IndyCar. I do not know.
You never know, Kyle.
But I have a sport coat. I don't think that's going to suffice. So IndyCar might be buying me a new suit, which would be awesome. So
great.
38 regular. Yeah. Okay, I was not going to take yours, bud.
Not going to work, as you said, bud. Yeah.
Real quick for Ron. This was such a dominant run for the team. All three cars in the top five. It says it on your hat, USA. How important is this to this organization, its partners, to win this race and in such dominant fashion?
Yeah, I mean, we knew going in this was going to be a special event. The Penske Entertainment, Roger, and everybody, they just did a phenomenal job. In our pre-race meeting, especially in Power's pre-race meeting, we talked about we weren't gonna hold back. We're swinging for the fences today, and I think as a group, yep, Kyle's still in championship hunt, but I think we all knew that this is an Indy 500 kind of vibe, and the best, just the 500, you win it or you don't, right? So it was to get that kind of effort here was really what we were talking about, and again, just trying to build that momentum for this team and trying to catapult us to the next level to be in the conversation every week. So that's just our focus and that's our goal. And I can't say how proud I am of the way he drove today and all the drivers. I mean, Marcus and Will just really, really pumped out laps when they needed to. And, too bad Christian kind of messed up our day a little bit, but we'll get it. We'll get it sooner or later.
Got time for a handful more. Sahil from NBC News. Go ahead.
Kyle, congratulations on the win. A two-part question from me. First, does this feel like the most satisfying of your 7 victories in IndyCar? And second, from inside the helmet, what were your favorite parts of the track? Are there any particular views that you'll remember?
Yeah. So to your first question, it's likely is the most satisfying one that I've had. Just the magnitude of it's huge. I think this one and my first are pretty similar. Getting your first win in IndyCar is a very special moment and kind of solidifies that your dreams have come true. As a little kid growing up in go-karts and wanting to do this your whole career, and then finally winning against guys that you've watched on TV and admired for so long, and being able to beat them is very satisfactory. But also here, when you think about the magnitude, what this means, having this race here in DC, being the Freedom 200 as an American, I think it might top the first one for me.
And the views from inside?
Yeah, the views. Two. I got two for you. The first one, which is the more serious one, is is the fans that were here. Like, and I talked about this, touched on it a little bit. Like, you don't have that vibe anywhere else other than the Indy 500, which we get 330,000 people out there. There's rows of people at every single fence. They're all cheering you on during the parade laps. Man, there's so many views from today. It's just like bouncing in my head. I mean, seeing the bombers come over, seeing facing that wall after I did a burnout and failed miserably. Yeah, there's a lot of views from today that are pretty special that I'll take with me for a long time.
Let's go one with Joey, and then Marshall will come to you after that off of Zoom, and then we'll wrap up after that. Go ahead, Joey.
We'll see if this microphone will stick and not cut
We're
off.
good, yeah.
Towards the end on that last restart, and you may have answered this already, forgive me if this is a repeat, but when Scott McLaughlin makes that late dive bomb move on you, I mean, just the awareness you had to just not get caught up in that. I mean, can you kind of take through that restart? Because that was obviously very significant.
Yeah, I was the only one on prime tires and out of the top six, so it's not easy. And I got huge wheel spin when I got to power, which the guys on the red tires and the alternate tires didn't have that as big of an issue. So I was under a lot of fire, and I saw him coming. I kind of defended a little bit, but I was like, you know what, he's not going to try this. And he did, right? And quite honestly, I thought he was going to make it stick initially. And once I saw how fast he, like in your mirror, you can kind of see it out of the corner of your eye. You're focused on braking, but you can see it in the corner of your eye where he's coming from. And I knew I kind of just had to give up the position and hope that I could cross him up on exit. So that's all I was trying to do. But once he got alongside me, I was like, there's no way he's stopping. And that's when I really checked up and tried to get a good run out. And fortunately, I was able to hold Christian off because that yellow came out after that whole incident, which could have been a nightmare for us, right? Being on primes, being the second guy in line to do a restart, that probably wouldn't have ended very well for us. So that's the thought process.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay, one off Zoom, Marshall Pruitt from Racer. Go ahead.
Burke. Today felt a lot like an endurance race. It's a lot of laps, a lot of time, a lot of potential mistakes. You saw a number of your closest rivals make those mistakes. You speak about your mindset from inside the car because you seem to build momentum. The longer the stint, you just seem to be in a really impressive groove. Don't know if this is anything that played to your endurance racing experience, but watching you, it seemed like you were on an overnight stint somewhere at Daytona or Sebring.
I mean, we knew it was going to be a battle, right? You almost have to look at this race in every sense as a little 500, where it's going to be so many stops. You just kind of want to be there at the end and give yourself a good shot. And that was a lot of the mindset, which I'm sure didn't look like it on the start when I was around the outside of Palou. Quite honestly, that was somewhat unintentional. But yes, to your point, it was endurance mindset. It was keeping it off the walls, doing everything clean, hitting your marks, not making big mistakes. Everything offline was very slippery, so just staying on line and crossing the T's, dotting the I's. That was a big part of today because we had the pace, we had the car, we had the crew. Everything was teed up for us. We just had to execute and not make any mistakes. And after last weekend, I was very sure I was not going to let myself do that once again.
Last thing for you and also for Ron, Skid got a nice Gatorade bucket of ice on him. Your crew super happy. Was speaking to Ron earlier in the week of, hey, the thing we're no longer talking about is when the Andretti cars come to pit lane, we have to fear for you losing positions. Can the two of you just speak to that evolution? Because from where you guys started the year to where you are now, it's a night and day difference.
Ron, you want to answer that?
Yeah, obviously at Arlington, we had a lot of stumbles along the way. We tried to give that race away a few times, but it provided an opportunity for everybody to just regroup and say, where we need to focus and really hit every part of it, not just the people part, the equipment, the drivers, and really apply the focus to just making sure that we are executing every week. So, how we did our practices, what we're focusing on, the equipment. There was a massive effort put, and it didn't happen overnight. It's happened over the course of weeks. We still had some problems along the way during the season, but we're getting there. And really, that's all we're trying to do is provide change, not just in the pit stops, but in everything we do, to really ensure that we're a team that we're talking about every single week, and we're in contention with our cars every single week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Marshall. Clearly a historic day, incredible day here in Washington, D.C., and in large part to your success here today as well. So congratulations on the win. Enjoy tomorrow, whatever that may hold, and we'll see you in Milwaukee in a couple days
Cool.
for a doubleheader.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Congratulations to both of you. And to Andretti Global Racing. Okay, we're going to wrap up with Bud Dinker, the chairman of the Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. So stand by for Bud.
Yes, that's all I was just going to say. But go in the left.
Okay, I think Bud needs no introduction, but I'll try it certainly after this weekend. Chairman of Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington, D.C., Bud Dinker, congratulations on the event. Crazy good race, Bud.
Yeah, it was a crazy good race, yeah. And you didn't know what would happen this weekend, did you? Because they've never raced cars on these streets before. We tried to grind and make it as smooth as possible, but you can never make a street course smooth, can you? And the guys did such a great job preparing the track for what it was, and did some grinding again last night to get things a little bit better. But 147 laps is. I remember telling Kyle this morning as he was walking in, I said, just think about it. When you're at lap 72, you're not halfway through yet. He goes, thank you for that reminder. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was good stuff, good action throughout the course of the race and throughout the field.
How about the pre-race pageantry? I mean, this was not a race. It was an event. There's a difference, isn't there? There's a big difference between a race and an event. And the flyovers that the team prepared, the pageantry of 7 flyovers. I had the opportunity to be in the lead vehicle of the motorcade. I was in the lead vehicle motorcade because we were timing when the President's Beast needed to be on the front stretch at the right place. We hit it within 5 seconds. Air Force One flying over. That's how perfect of a day it was today. It gives you an example of what it was. And how about the Eagle coming off of the building and landing right in front of Mr. Trump before it? I mean, it just gave you goosebumps and frankly brought a lot of tears to my eyes.
Maybe one more before we open up for questions for you personally. I know this isn't about you, but I mean, you put your heart, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this for several months now. And I know just seeing cars on the track was a little emotional for you yesterday, so I can't imagine what seeing the race meant to you today.
Yeah. I heard somebody caught me with a few tears in my eyes yesterday. I didn't realize that was the case. I disguised.
TV cameras are everywhere. So,
I thought I disguised myself pretty well, but apparently somebody caught me. I haven't seen any of the footage of that, so I think Bruce, you told me about it, right? So, but yeah, watching the cars come on the grid and see them come down pit lane, it just kind of hits you. It just hits you because it's been a year since I've been here to try to do this, and I've learned in this city, a lot of people can say no, but not a lot of people can say yes. And the big guy, when the big guy says yes, shit happens. And that you can take that for a quote. And the big guy got behind this, Mr. Trump, and when he and his Secretary Duffy said we're going to make this happen, and we did it together. Remember, that was on January 30th. We had 7 months to do what we did out here in the most complex environment in the world with 1,350 pages of permits. Imagine that. Detroit's like 200. 1,350 pages of permits, and all that was done in a time period. And I'll tell you this, I've heard this, my wife is over here with my son and his girlfriend, and we heard it. How many times did you hear today that It's the most well-run organization the city's ever dealt with, and they want us to come back. We heard that time and time again. Secret Service, MPD, Fire Department, Mayor. It's because my team and Michael Montry and Jonathan Bailey are just geniuses. And these guys could go anywhere in the world and put a race on. You saw it today.
You should put that 1,300-page document in the National Archives while it's here. So
no, I think my roller that I've been measuring the roads with is going to the Smithsonian somewhere. It's wore out, man.
All right, let's open it up for a few questions before we wrap up with Bud. Joey, go ahead.
Hey, Bud. I know we talked with you on Thursday, and there was a lot of nerves coming into this. I mean, how did this meet your expectations or exceed your expectations?
You know, it's really started with Saturday, really, not knowing what to expect on the racetrack. We watched it on TV, and these guys pumping and porpoising down the front straight. We knew Pennsylvania Avenue would be rough. We didn't know 6th Street would be, or 6 turns, the 6th turn would be that tough. We ground last night. But when the guys got back in, the first person I went to was Alex Palou and Barry Weinzer in the pit lane. So how was the track? Then I went to Graham. I went to a couple other drivers. They said it's nothing we haven't faced before. In fact, one person said it was smoother than Arlington the first day that we had to grind. So therefore, Joey, I knew we had a racetrack we could race on. We had some manhole covers that kept breaking, the welds, but no one knew that but us. We fixed those. So I would say from the racetrack, raceability exceeded my expectations. We just weren't sure because there's no testing. And then to see the people on the National Mall, if you're out there, everybody had a smile on their face. It didn't matter if you were Democrat or Republican here. They had a smile on their face. And it just shows you in this sport, we can bring things together, can't we? And then here's another fact. Metropolitan Police Department, I know them well. Chief Carroll, Chief Bagshaw, they're my friends. Fire Department, the mayor, Secret Service especially have become real close to me. They told me this is the first event in the country for Freedom 250 or America 250 without a protest. That's pretty profound. Did you guys see any protest? There wasn't one protest around this event. That tells you something what motorsports is.
One more before we take some. Zion's got a question. A lot of questions about attendance. Care to get into that?
Yeah. The good news is we have a lot of scanners. Not a lot of entryways. At one time I saw people coming out over the bridge here at 4th Street. The line was probably 4 or 5 blocks long to get out because at the end of the race we opened the areas up, but we counted over 215,000 people here over the last couple days. So not counting you and the teams, 215,000 people out of those 288,000 who requested tickets. Would there be a 50% no-show rate? UFC was a 45% to 50% no-show rate. They were free tickets too. Look who the people who showed up at our event. I don't know what that division is, 215,000, it might be 288,000. But a lot of people showed up for this race from all around our country and all around the world. Good number.
Zion, go ahead.
But you talked about the pageantry aspect of it. Obviously, you had to agree to have the race here first and have the executive order signed. At what point did you kind of solidify all the pre-race stuff that, kind of made it feel special before the race began?
Well, we have the same producer that's done many Super Bowls and has done the last 15 to 20 Indy 500s, Frank Supplewitz. I hired him, and you can see Frank's skills in action. He and Dan Skyver are the two magicians that make all of those things happen at the time they have to happen. The Fife and Drum Corps coming around, the Navy Band, the Army Band, the Air Force Band, the Coast Guard Band. My dream was to celebrate every branch of our service, and that was a dream I had many, many months ago. They fulfilled that dream. Josh Rodman, a guy you don't know, Josh Rodman, a guy from Harbinger, and Harbinger is my partner who did all the porta-johns, all the permits, all the fencing, everything you see out here. Josh Rodman secured all of these flyovers from Harbinger. I didn't have to work on that. And he did all the behind the stuff that you saw with Corvette, also all those cool social media things. That was the guy who did all of that. So, because he works with the Department of War. He works with the Department of War. He's a civilian. So I knew I had the right people on the line, and the pageantry, it might have been better than Indy. Never going to say that, right? Never going to say that, because Doug Bowles will be mad. but it was pretty damn good. How about 7 flyovers? Beat that one.
And then you said it. Some folks from the city want this race back. I'm sure a few drivers do as well. What are the next steps from here? Is it going to Roger and reconvening? Is it talking to the big guy, as you called him? Like, where do you go from here about figuring out if this happens in 2027?
You know, today was a surreal day for my wife and Charlotte, and my son's girlfriend and Christian, wasn't it? It was surreal. We sat with the president today, right? I mean, this small town boy from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, we're sitting with the president today, and the Department of War, and the Department of Commerce, and the Department of Interior, Department of every person was in this room but one, Secretary Mullins. He had to fly to Australia. So to sit in there and every single one of them was hitting me about coming back, coming back, coming back. Melania, First Lady, on the way out says, "We look forward to seeing you again next year." Pressure's on. Even the First Lady's involved in this thing, right? So, you know, I've been saying, and so has Roger, let's see how it goes the first year. As Dana White said after the UFC fight, these are very expensive propositions in this city, right? It was for him and it was for us. You don't raise the kind of revenue to cover any to your costs. So Roger and I will talk about it. We'll talk about it. And Mr. Trump hit me 15 times today about having to have this. His view it is this, interesting, his strategy. Let's do it for 5 years, is what he's saying, because that guarantees you're going to be hear me through my term. And then 2 more years for who's ever in office next. That's his strategy. It's pretty good. He's thinking. He's a thinker. He's a smart guy.
Bruce?
But the value of the fact that many of those people that came through those turnstiles had never been to a race before.
Right.
Not only were they here, they were enthusiastic.
Yeah.
How valuable is that to the growth of IndyCar?
You know, I've been saying this isn't about me, this isn't about Penske, this isn't about our sport. I've been saying that over and over again. This is about our country, and that's still true. But boy, this has got to be something for our sport. When I drove around the motorcade, and I got a video of it, I had my window down, the people were 15 deep around 7th Street. They were just clamoring for a picture with Mr. Trump. But isn't that motorcade impressive, man? That just gives you goosebumps when you see about 8 cars coming at you, right? One of them is the president. So, Bruce, we've got a lot of new IndyCar fans, I think, here. We sold yesterday over $969,000 of merchandise. We sold in Arlington $900,000 for the whole week. We got a lot of new fans.
And you were talking about smoothing out areas, doing some work on the course. The track walk on Friday, there was like a gas line that had a domed cover on it that a lot of drivers suddenly thought. What did you do to correct that? And was that really even a surprise that hadn't been caught sooner?
Well, there were some we caught sooner because they were really had a crown to them. That one you're talking about wasn't so much of a crown, but it kind of jumped out at you because of the way it looked. Right, that one was flush. We took a straight line piece of metal, and that one was flush. It wasn't sticking up, so we know that. But it looked pretty ominous, right? So, what we do with those things, by the way, we just screw the top off. Underneath there's a valve. That's a shutoff valve where you turn the gas off. Okay, so hard to get them off. What we did with the other ones, we put a bunch of sand in it. Inside there is some sand, a little bit of concrete. And put it to the surface. Now we got to go back and chop it off and put it back together again. So those weren't too bad, Bruce. So we have much worse, I would say much worse manholes than that one.
We got time for a couple more with David, and then Jeff after that. David?
Bud, you mentioned the thousands of pages of documents to make this event happen. You've poured the concrete. You've made and built the relationships locally. How much of that, if there is a second or a third event, would transfer to next year? How much of the work is already done?
Well, some of the capital's already done because those walls you see down here, we painted every wall, by the way. I don't like just walls that are concrete. We painted every single wall and put stars on them if you didn't notice that. By the way, here's another fact. If you put white walls with stars, when the camera goes by, it has motion. If it's just white, there's no motion. So that's another reason we paint them, because they look really good. So the walls have been all bought. The walls cost us over $3.5 million. They don't transfer. They'll sit here. They're going to sit in a lot on New York Avenue for who knows how long. At $300,000, it's going to cost me to lease this lot. Those walls are like the half-life of uranium. They don't go away. Okay. So until we have another event in the east, or maybe back here, those walls are going to sit because you can only transfer four per truck. 300 truckloads of those walls had to come from Fredericksburg, Virginia to here to be offloaded. 300 truckloads because you can't haul them across the country. It's too expensive. So the investment is already made in the walls and some of the infrastructure. That's a sunk investment. I'd love to have a number of years more because you can depreciate that asset. We'll see. So the fence is from Arlington and Detroit. We share that. The bridges are from Arlington. We share that. So we bring in other assets. The tires you saw here, those are from Detroit. So we're able to share the assets. So it's very transferable. I don't think we get one pushback from any person that we worked with in this city to not have this race again. You can imagine the number of meetings I had to have at Johns Hopkins University to have you folks in this building. You can imagine the number of meetings I had to have with Federal Chairman Ferguson to have our race control in the Federal Trade Commission building and spotters on the top of their building. National Archives, National Gallery of Art. They all had to be many, many, many meetings with me to get where we were. But you know what we built? We built trust. We built trust and transparency. And because we have that with this city and every single agency, because of the team I have, there would be nobody to say not to do this again. I'm confident of that. The decision's up to us.
So what would the hurdle be? Would it just be your decision, yes or no, then at that point? I
think it would be. I think it's a financial decision because it's very expensive to do this. You don't do much in this city if it's not 6 figures. Okay, I wish everything was just 6 figures. So it's really a scope. And the other thing about it is too, you have to say to yourself, there's only one 250-year event, right? What's 251 going to look like? What do you even call it? And are the sponsors that came in this year, or the sponsors we had this year, will they come back again in a non-anniversary year? Many corporations had money set aside for their anniversary. They did. They had marketing dollars set aside, and we captured a lot of those. So how much of that revenue would we reclaim again next year when it's not such a novelty, it's not such an event? And I would be concerned about the raising of the same kind of revenue we did this year.
Time for 2 more. Let's go Jeff here in the front row, and then Wolfgang. Thanks for your patience. We'll wrap up with you. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hi, Bud. I'm over here. I'm curious what you think this says about street racing in America in general. Obviously, you know, F1 had pulled off their splashy Vegas race, and NASCAR did Chicago and the Navy base. You guys have done this now in Arlington and Detroit. It seems like this is becoming more common, but this is maybe the most ambitious yet. What is the future of these type of events with American motorsports?
Yeah, I think we found our sweet spot in the sport, haven't we? I think urban races for us are very, very important for our sport. The demographics fit well for our urban race. You know, what doesn't fit well for us is to go to an oval that's, you know, maybe 50, 60 miles outside of a city, right? It doesn't travel well. The urban markets draw people in and make it exciting, and the vibe creates part of the event. I go back to my first point. We want to create events, not races. Many times, places that are out rural market are races. Okay, Nashville, probably a race versus an event. Okay, really, it's not Nashville. It's Lebanon, Tennessee, by the way. So love it out there. Love the racing out there, but it's not Nashville, Tennessee. So look at the places we're racing now. They're urban environments. Our sweet spot are short ovals, the Indy 500. Phoenix is a good market for us to be. Phoenix helps because we got NASCAR there. We already have a driven demand there as well too. Are there other opportunities for us to pair with NASCAR? Perhaps. This year, next year, Phoenix is going to be amazing because we had a night race. Phoenix, NASCAR saw the value of us when they saw that we sold out. They sold out all the suites on Saturday. So to come back there the second year, the deal I did with Ben Kennedy was much easier. So I'd love to find another street course in the East Coast marketplace if we don't do it here, because I know that urban markets are our sweet spot.
Wolfgang, you got the honors of the final question. Go ahead, sir. I hope there are 2 questions.
You have to.
Okay, good. All right.
Actually, one question and one very important from my point of view information for you. But first of all, congratulations. My first question is concerning track layout. Was this the only option or the first option, or you had other option? And then the second information maybe makes you a little bit more happier, because you mentioned Mr. Trump, but from my point of view, what was also very important, this weekend or this Sunday, there were 32 members of the German parliament here in Washington, because they're planning a race, a similar race, maybe not IndyCar, but a similar race in Berlin. Maybe they contact you as a consultant.
Well, I didn't know that, Wolfgang. Let me go back to your first question about the racetrack. You've all heard my stories about the race was on Capitol Hill, right? And I couldn't get the votes, so I had to move it off. I moved it off came here on a Saturday morning. It was snowing. It was a blizzard. It was terrible. With my roller, measured Pennsylvania Avenue. If we didn't turn on 9th Street, if we didn't take a left around the National Archives, the next street that we had to turn on was 14th. Yes, 14th Street. And 14th then would go to Independence. Independence would come down to 3rd. You now have a box of a track. And you also have a racetrack that's 3.8 miles. I looked at that option first, to go down from 3rd to 14th, 14th and up. But it was just a boring-looking track, and it was way too long. Remember, every quarter mile costs you over $500,000 of track, wall, and fence. Every quarter mile. So there's also a thing about this track that with every lap being under a minute, or about a minute, it allows the fans to see something come around a lot more often than coming around every 3.5 miles, which that track would have had to have been if I moved it down further. So we have the right layout here, 1.7 miles. The drivers like the track. It's tricky as hell, this track. We made the turns. Tony Kottman and I made the turns very difficult purposely. And I think the option that we created here when I came here and designed a racetrack was the only one we had, but also I think a very good one when you think about where else we could have gone, which would have been another mile down the road.
Good, Wolfgang? Okay, you're happy.
We want Wolfgang happy.
Love that. Love that. Bud, congratulations. Hopefully you get some sleep tonight, and it sounds like you're going suit shopping with Kyle Kirkwood tomorrow, so enjoy that.
I just want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
My wife has never been to one of these press conferences before, and I haven't seen her in 6 months, so thank you, honey, for having.
To see him.
That's right,
yes,
to see him.
Yes.
And my son Christian as well. Great to have my son here as well, too. Thank you, guys.
Bud, thanks. We'll see you in a couple days in Milwaukee, right?
See you in Milwaukee.
We'll see you in Milwaukee.
Just like I was here.
And thanks, everyone, throughout the course of the weekend. A special shout-out to our host, Johns Hopkins University. They were tremendous throughout the weekend and the planning heading up to the weekend as well. Thanks, everyone.